Gordon Graham here with today's tip from Lexipol. And today's tip is a follow-up on last week. Now, if you'll recall, last week we got involved in Admiral Hyman Rickover's Rules for Success. There's 7 of them. Remember, the father of the nuclear navy, he wanted things done right, avoid tragedies, and he came up with 7 rules for success. A quick recap. Last week we talked about Rule 1, continuous improvement. We got to get better and better and better at what we do. Rule 2, quality people. People running complex systems have got to be highly capable. Rule 3, the key role of the supervisor. This week, we're going to talk about rules 4 through 7. Rule 4, you've got to have a healthy respect for the dangers and risks you face. What are you going to do with this information? When you get back to work after you view this tip, take a look at your job and ask this question. In my specific job in the fire service, in custody, in law enforcement, how do we get killed? How do we get hurt? How do we get sued? How do we get indicted? How do we get embarrassed? You have to do a comprehensive risk assessment. And one of my pet peeves, too many people get worked up on the wrong stuff. The easiest way to learn how you're going to get in trouble is to study how people in your job have gotten in trouble. That is Rule 4, respect risk. Now that you've respected risk, Rule 4, Rule 5, every day has got to be a training day. Rickover's actual words were, training has got to be constant and rigorous. My pitch, every day we need to train, and not random training, but focused training. What did you learn in Rule 4? How do we get hurt, sued, killed, indicted, embarrassed? Those are the ones where every day we've got to train. This is the genesis for the Lexipol DTB system. Every day, log on, trained and tested on the things that are going to get you in trouble. That is Rule 5. Rule 6, the audit process. You executives out there in public safety, you've got to have a robust audit process in place to make sure what you say you're doing is in fact being done. And if you take the time to study the life of Admiral Rickover, you'll learn this. He retired from the Navy in 1980 at the age of 80. And at the point of his retirement, he was widely despised throughout the Navy. Why? Because he never delegated the audit process. The audits of the nuclear fleet were done by him. He knew more than you did about your boat. You couldn't fool him. We need the same thing in law enforcement, in the fire service. And not to be rude, but too many of the audits I see are what I call lip service audits, where we have pieces of paper saying that everything's wonderful, when in fact it's not. Here's a hint for you. When things go bad, the tragedy occurs, and the lawyers get involved, they're not going to do a lip service audit after the fact. It's going to be an in-depth audit. We need those up front. Serious audits to make sure what we say we're in fact doing. And finally, Rule 7. The organization and the members thereof have got to have the ability and willingness to learn from mistakes of the past. If you go all the way back to Rule 1, continuous improvement, Rule 7 is the analog, continuous learning. That wraps it up for the 7 rules of Admiral Hyman Rickover. I look forward to seeing you next week when we continue our discussion on risk management. This is Gordon Graham signing off.